Is bigger always better? If you walk into a retail store, chances are you'll be able to get the Sony XB7 for less than the much smaller JBL Xtreme. And with the recently leaked JBL Boombox, I wanted to see how the sound on the JBL Xtreme compared to the Sony XB7 and get an idea of what to expect from the JBL Boombox when it finally releases. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and you can check out my Sony XB7 review here after you're done watching this video. And there will be a sound comparison at the end of this video as well, so stay tuned for that. For the most part, the JBL Xtreme retails for $299.99 at most stores, but I've managed to find it for as low as $228.98 on Amazon. When the Sony XB7 first released, it was selling for $349.99, but since most of Sony's lineup is on sale, you can actually get it for $228.44 directly from Amazon as well, which is straight up amazing. If you want to pick either of these products up, I'll have links in the description below and I'll keep them updated so you can get the best deal possible. Okay, so let's go over form factor and speaker setup first. The Sony GTK XB7 weighs in at a whopping 26.5 pounds or 12 kilos and is 25.59 inches tall by 12.83 inches by 13.39 inches. The JBL Xtreme, on the other hand, weighs in at 4.66 pounds or 2.11 kilos and is 11.14 inches wide, 4.96 inches tall, and has a depth of 4.8 inches. The Sony XB7 has two 6 3/8 inch woofers and three 2-inch tweeters. The JBL Xtreme has two 2.48 inches pass radiators on each side, two 2.4 inch full range speakers, and two 1.38 inch tweeters. And according to leaked specs, the JBL Boombox is said to be 20 inches wide and 10 inches tall, just the main body and not including the handle, and weigh in at 11 pounds. Basically, it's going to be double the size of the JBL Xtreme, but still slightly smaller than the XB7, but weigh half as much. And rumors have it at around $500 more or less. You can bet I'm gonna be making the JBL Boombox versus Sony XB7 video. Like I said, the main focus for this video is comparing the performance of these two speakers. I want to compare their sound quality and loudness. After downloading a decibel reader app on my iPad, I got to getting some measurements and really annoying my neighbors. First, I placed both of these speakers outside and stood 10 feet away from them. At 50% volume with the JBL Xtreme, I got an average reading of 60 decibels. At 75% volume, the JBL Xtreme was getting an average reading of 77 decibels. And at 100% volume, the average reading was at 81 decibels. Then I did the same thing with the Sony XB7. At 50% volume, the average was at 77 decibels, at 75% volume, the average was at 83 decibels, and at 100% volume, the average was at 93 decibels. And when I did the same test indoors, the dataset was very similar to one another. When it comes to sound quality, obviously the Sony XB7 is going to have way more bass. Like, you can feel the bass punch the inside of your chest. But when it comes to the mids and highs, the JBL Xtreme does a really good job of keeping up. And the sound quality on the JBL Xtreme has much more depth, while the sound on the Sony XB7 is a little more forward. But I did notice the XB7 had much more separation than the JBL Xtreme. The punchy bass on the XB7 is its own entity, whereas with the Xtreme, if the bass really gets going, it's gonna muddle the sound a bit. But even though the Sony XB7 can get much louder than the JBL Xtreme, when the XB7 is at 100% volume, there's a lot of distortion going on and there's a lot of rollout from the bass, which muddles the overall sound. In most cases, I feel it's unusable. I think the Sony XB7 sounds best when it's at 75% volume, which means it's going to achieve the same loudness as the JBL Xtreme at 100% volume with an average decibel reading of 81 to 83 decibels. And at 100% volume, the JBL Xtreme suffers from much less distortion. Even though the Sony XB7 completely dwarfs the JBL Xtreme, the JBL Xtreme can still stand up to the Sony XB7 when it comes to pure sound quality. Yeah, obviously the Sony XB7 gets louder, but at those higher volumes, there's a lot of distortion. It's not usable for personal listening, but if you're having a pool party or a big get-together, it'll get the job done. But if you were to compare these two speakers at the same decibel level, the Sony XB7 does have better instrument separation and a whole lot of bass, in a good way, but then you have to ask yourself, is the sheer sheer size of the XB7 worth it compared to the JBL Xtreme, which is significantly smaller and has less bass, but still sounds pretty good compared to the XB7. But does this mean JBL is gunning for the Sony XB7 with their JBL Boombox? Will the JBL Boombox be able to achieve a loudness of around 93 decibels without suffering from so much distortion like the Sony XB7? And will the JBL Boombox have more or less the same amount of bass? If JBL can match Sony XB7 performance level in a slightly smaller and lighter package, I would be very impressed. And it's supposed to be IPX7 certified as well, whereas with the XB7, you can't get it wet. But would you be willing to pay $500 for a larger JBL Xtreme? Comment down below and let me know. Okay, so here's the sound test. Both of these speakers are playing in the same room at the same distance away from the same microphone, streaming from the same source, and playing at the same decibel level. So hopefully the only independent variable is sound quality. Comment down below and tell me which one you prefer. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It helps out more than you realize. For more product reviews and deal alerts, check out jimcaddy.net. If you want to support the channel, pick up a shirt. And I'll catch you next time.